Piastri will lose this F1 due to McLaren. Yeah, you heard that right. Oscar Piastri's leading the 2025 drivers' title fight, but Lando Norris is snatching wins with McLaren's help, and it's looking shady. In Hungary, Piastri had pole in the lead, but McLaren's strategy handed Norris the victory deliberately. Is this team playing dirty to push their British star over the Aussie champ? Stick around because we're diving into the hard proof that McLaren's tilting the scales, and it might cost Piastri the crown. McLaren's on fire in 2025, dominating with 7-1-2 finishes and a 268-point lead in the Constructors' Championship. Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris are fighting for the driver's title, with Piastri leading by 9 points after 14 races. But here's the catch. Piastri racked up 6 wins and 4 poles, yet Norris keeps coming out on top in key moments, and it looks like McLaren is playing unfair to make Norris win. Let's dive into the evidence from Hungary and beyond that shows McLaren's giving Norris the upper hand, while Piastri was just left out. Let's start with the Hungarian Grand Prix, where it all went down. Piastri was the king of the weekend, picking poles and leading early, and he was set to dominate. Norris? He started third but dropped to fifth on lap 1. Stuck behind George Russell and Charles Leclerc. McLaren had a choice, rather to stick with the two-stop strategy they planned for both drivers, or take a risk. Guess what? They gave Norris a one-stop strategy, letting him stretch his medium tires to lap 32, then switch to hard and hold the lead. Piastri, meanwhile, got the standard two-stop plan, pitting on lap 18 to undercut Leclerc, then again later, losing track position. Norris won by 0.698 seconds, cutting Piastri's championship lead from 16 to 9 points.
Will be 9 points between the papaya pair for the 200th time in Formula One. McLaren win, Lando Norris wins the Hungarian Grand Prix.
Why give Norris the race-winning call while Piastri had the safe plan? Team principal Andrea Stella said the one stop wasn't even on their radar pre-race, but they convinced themselves it could work for Norris. Piastri admitted it was painful to lose by so little, saying he didn't know if matching Norris's strategy was possible from the cockpit. The numbers don't lie. Piastri's fresher tires let him close a 12-second gap in 25 laps, but McLaren's call gave Norris the track position to hold him off. That's not just luck, that's clearly a team picking their favorite. This ain't new. McLaren's been doing this for a while. Let's rewind to Monza 2024, where Norris took pole but got jumped by Piastri at the start, dropping to third behind Leclerc. Piastri finished second, Norris third. But here's where things get interesting. McLaren admitted they'd favor Norris for the last 8 races of 2024 to boost his title chances against Max Verstappen. Norris even said the results would probably be switched around if team orders were in play, meaning Piastri would have been asked to give up his spot. That's straight-up proof McLaren's willing to put Norris first, even when Piastri's driving lights out. Fast forward to 2025, and with Piastri leading the championship, it's like McLaren still got that Norris-biased perspective locked in. The favoritism didn't stop in Hungary. In Austria 2025, Norris and Piastri were battling hard, but McLaren pulled another slick move. After Norris's crash with Piastri in Canada, where Norris took the blame for wiping himself out, McLaren seemed to double down on him. In Austria, Norris got a strategy that let him stay out longer on harder tires, banking on a late safety car that paid off big time. He won, while Piastri, on a two-stop plan, took second. Sound familiar? Just like Hungary, Norris got the high-risk and high-reward strategy, while Piastri was left with the safer, less glamorous call. Norris's back-to-back wins in Austria and Silverstone and his first consecutive victories shows McLaren's trusting him with the big plays. But why does Norris keep getting the strategies that set him up to shine? Let's talk about Canada 2025, where things got messy. Norris and Piastri collided while battling for position, and Norris crashed out.
We go to turn 1! No, he's ripped off the front wing! The McLarens collide!
Costing McLaren a potential 1-2. Norris apologized, admitting it was his fault, but former F1 driver Ralf Schumacher dropped a bomb. He claimed that McLaren is internally favoring Piastri as their championship leader, not Norris. Wait, what? That sounds like it contradicts the strategy calls, right? But here's the twist. Despite Schumacher's claim, McLaren's post-actions like Norris's wins in Austria and Silverstone indicates that they're placing Piastri behind Norris to keep him in the fight. Piastri's leading the championship, but McLaren's giving Norris the tools to close that gap like the one stop in Hungary. It's like they're hedging their bets, but the evidence points to Norris getting the sweeter deal. The MCL39 setup might be leaning in Norris's way. In Bahrain 2025, Piastri dominated with a win, but Norris struggled, saying he felt clueless, and the car wasn't clicking for him. Andrea Stella admitted they made changes that suited Piastri's style, but made things difficult for Norris. By Hungary, though, Norris was winning again, suggesting McLaren tweaked the car to fit his driving, maybe more stability in high-speed corners, which he loves. Piastri's still killing it, but if McLaren's fine-tuning the car to help Norris after his complaints, that's another thing. Norris's race engineer, Will Joseph, even said Norris's experience since 2019 gives him an advantage at tracks, and Piastri's only seen a couple of times. So, why adjust the car for the guy trailing in points instead of the championship leader? This directs us to a clear picture. In Hungary and Austria, Piastri got warnings not to collide with Norris, like in Spa 2024 when McLaren told him to play nice. Meanwhile, Norris, he's rarely getting those be careful calls. In Hungary, Piastri tried a bold move on lap 69, locking up to pass Norris. McLaren didn't tell Norris to let him by, even though Piastri had fresher tires and was closing fast. They let Norris keep the lead, banking on his one stop to hold off Piastri's charge. Zak Brown said both drivers got equal opportunity. Then why's the championship leader getting dominated while Norris gets to play freely? Norris has been with McLaren since 2019, while Piastri joined in 2023. Even though Piastri's leading with 284 points to Norris's 275 by Hungary, McLaren's giving Norris the spotlight. After Canada's crash, Norris bounced back with wins in Austria and Silverstone, and McLaren hyped him as their title hope. Norris called the team his biggest motivation, saying he's surrounded by the right people. Meanwhile, Piastri's out here winning races like Bahrain, China, and Miami, but McLaren's strategy calls keep tilting towards Norris. Why else give Norris the winning strategies when Piastri's leading the championship? Let's break it down with numbers. By Hungary, Piastri got 284 points, 6 wins, 4 poles, and 12 podiums. Norris has 275 points, 5 wins, and 12 podiums. McLaren's crushing the constructors with 516 points, 268 ahead of Ferrari. Piastri's ahead, but Norris's wins in Hungary, Austria, and Silverstone came from McLaren's high-risk strategies, while Piastri's wins like Bahrain and China relied on his pace or Norris's mistakes, like Canada's crash. In qualifying, they're tied 2-2. But Norris's pole-to-win conversions, like Australia, often come with McLaren's backing. Hungary's one-stop versus two-stop split shows Norris getting the better call, closing the gap to 9 points. If McLaren's treating them equal, why's Norris getting the strategies that win races while Piastri's stuck playing catch-up? Piastri's not taking this lying down. He said that he's not fussed about Norris closing the gap in Hungary. His 6 wins and 4 poles show he's the real deal, and his manager, Mark Webber, knows what it's like to be a team's second choice from his Red Bull days. Webber's pushing Piastri to keep beating Norris on track, like in Bahrain and Miami, where he dominated. But Piastri's moves, like his lap 69 dive bomb in Hungary, shows he's frustrated, trying to force his way past Norris when McLaren's strategies don't favor him. Toast called Piastri an alpha driver who won't accept being sidelined, and his new contract matching Norris's pay proves McLaren knows his value. Still, the team's actions like strategy calls, radio warnings, car setups keeps favoring Norris. McLaren's swearing it's all fair. Zak Brown says Norris and Piastri can race freely. They claim Hungary's strategy was about optimizing the team result, and Stella said Norris's one stop was a reactive call based on his tire data. But the evidence, Hungary's split, Monza 2024's team orders, Austria and Silverstone's risky calls, changes in car and radio warnings points to Norris getting the edge. Piastri's fighting with wins and bold moves, but McLaren's bias is clear. With 10 races left, starting at Zandvoort Circuit on August 29th. This championship is unpredictable. Will McLaren keep favoring Norris, or will Piastri's potential force them to play fair? Our evidence speaks that McLaren's giving Lando Norris the edge with strategies, car setups, and hype, even though Oscar Piastri's leading the championship. Hungary's pit stop betrayal, meanwhile Piastri's fighting for his shot. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit a like and subscribe for more interesting theories, and I'll see you in the next one.